But I was never interested in Jainism, actually, because for me it was too ritualistic. Even as a child, I used to go to the temple and we are told, don't sit this way, sit this way. And I used to question, like, why do we do what we do? And nobody gave an answer and said, it's very scientific, but you just have to do what you do. It's more ritualistic. So why do we go back to past lives? Only that there's an effect you live with today and you want to resolve it, then we must understand where is the root cause of it.
But I'm thinking, if you took that other life, the one for working, you wouldn't have experienced poverty and helplessness, which is vital to your soul evolution.
Correct.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear viewers and listeners. Welcome back to yet another episode of Beauty Lies Beyond Podcast with me, Miriam Rose. I'm joined today in studio by yet another amazing guest. I will mention her titles, but I'll still allow her to introduce herself. She's an integrated clinical hypnotherapist, a transpersonal regression therapist, and a trainer of hypnotherapy. I had to mention that because that is very impressive. But I will allow her to introduce herself and tell us more about herself. Welcome.
Thank you, Miriam. As Miriam has mentioned, my name is Kinneri Parekh. I am an integrated clinical hypnotherapist, a transpersonal regression therapist, and I train students on hypnotherapy. And my journey into this field began after I was going through a lot of my own issues. And before that, I was in the corporate world. And of course, stress took over. Not that this stress was from the work, but I was going through my own things. And I couldn't handle a lot of things in life. So I had to resign. And then I had to figure out now what's going on with me. My emotional state was very volatile. I would get angry, like I would react. I was a very angry, helpless person, if that's what I would say.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on. I had lost confidence in me. I was very frightened of everything. And it just did not allow me to get a grip on my life. And then they started affecting my body. I used to get migraines like pretty much every week. Wow. And I was on strong painkillers, which would put me down for at least 12 hours at a go. I was always nauseous the moment a headache would come. Like I was just not okay. And I had to resign just to figure out what's happening to me.
How long had you been in corporate? And that's new because I've been meeting.
Many years. I would say since the time I was probably 18, 19 years old, I had started working. And since then, I've been working. And then I got married. And after that, I've been working. I never stopped working. But one thing that didn't change in my life was how I was inside me. And I had no idea at that time. So I left the corporate world. Okay. And before that, before leaving, I had gone to the doctors to figure out. We had done tests. We had done everything, no diagnosis. Like, you're pretty fine. So all they used to give me is painkillers. Wow. And strong painkillers just to manage, but there was no cure to it. I wasn't going to live like this. And then after that, I started going into kind of a depression. I was, as I said, very reactive. But when I would come home from work, I didn't want to do anything. I had no motivation.
Yeah.
And all I wanted to do was sleep after that. And that, again, is mild depression.
Yeah.
My back had started going bad as well, literally from the base of my neck. It had started getting trapped and...
congested?
I would say trapped. Like, there was so much pain that I couldn't function.
Wow.
And then it had started affecting my left hand. And I couldn't even roll chapatis. Wow. And that was not okay. So I went for alternative healing like physiotherapy and even chiropractic. And in one of the chiropractic treatments, something he was trying to manipulate kind of awakened something, I don't know. And it made me think I need to leave my job and I need to do something about it. After that, I sat at home for a few months figuring out, like, what do I do next? And in the meanwhile, I used to meditate. I used to read a lot of these self-help books. I've done a lot, but didn't give me the answer I was looking for. There was a lot of guidance, good stuff.
Yeah.
Like we can say about this Louise Hay affirmations. I used to do everything. I had done these frequency meditations as well, just to awaken part of my brain, or go into certain brain waves. I'd done everything, but the answer wasn't there.
What's the answer you were looking for?
My health didn't change.
So it was health that
Yeah.
led you to look for an answer. Why am I
Absolutely.
sick constantly? Okay.
So
Interesting.
I joined counseling, psychology. I thought maybe there is an answer there of the issues that I'm going through. It was helpful to us an extent, but it didn't give me the answer again. But anyway, I started practicing after I qualified. I'd done a higher diploma, and they were asking me, because I was so good with it. They said, "Why don't you do masters?" And I'm like, "I don't have the brain space to do masters right now. I need to figure out." And this was around the time of Westgate attack.
Oh,
I was actually helping people. I had gone through my own therapy in the counseling, but somewhere all I was doing was talking about my life and my issues and what I was going through, and trying to figure out how we can work through it. Like maybe, notice how you're getting angry, why you're getting angry. But there wasn't an answer to what's inside of me that's creating all these issues. So anyway, I got a couple of clients around the Westgate attack who had PTSD, and I went round and round trying to help them. But even after about 10 to 12 sessions, they were not changing. That PTSD hadn't changed. They were still going back to being frightened. So it made me think, like, this is not what I'm going to do all my life. As it is anyway, I don't know what's happening to me. And then a friend suggested, why don't you do neuro-linguistic programming? Because that's the new age way of doing things. I went all the way to India, qualified, became a life coach. And I was using their techniques to help, but that also I felt there was a limitation. Though in NLP, what I was very fascinated was the subconscious mind, which counseling never talks about. So for me, I thought, like, no, there is something. And the self-help books had also mentioned that.
Yeah.
So I knew, like, the biology of belief and the power of the subconscious mind. I had gone through all that, but I didn't know how to access that. So I thought maybe I need to go further. And then I was looking for hypnotherapy. And one fine day, I guess my prayers were answered. And this guy was coming to Nairobi. I couldn't have gone outside there because when I contacted them, they were saying that their courses are not in one city. You have to travel to other cities. And I'm like, I'm a Kenyan. I'm not an Indian. I don't know India. What am I going to do? So I shelved that idea. But I guess somewhere within me, that energy was coming. So he comes to town and I want to go. I sit there in the first class only, the first half day, and I knew this is where I found my answer.
Interesting.
Because what he talked about was the subconscious mind and how our patterns, emotions, beliefs, all that is stored in the subconscious mind is what dictates your life and what's happening to you. And that was the answer I was looking for. That whatever was happening to me, there was an answer inside me.
Interesting.
And then I continued. I decided I'm going to finish the whole curriculum. So one of the times there was this is theory and then practice. So in practice, they show us a demo of how the technique is performed. And I was a demo.
Okay.
I had not done hypnosis before in a way. So I told the teacher, I don't know if I can be hypnotized, because obviously I was very frightened, like, what the hell is this? But he just smiled at me and said, let's see, just surrender. Let's see what happens. Honestly, Miriam, I didn't know what to go. Meaning, how I accessed that part of me, it was a miracle. And what I came across was something very traumatic that I had suppressed for a very long time.
In this lifetime?
Yes.
Interesting.
My sister, my youngest sister, she was 7.5, and I was 18 at that time. And she met with a motorbike accident. A guy, we were walking, we're from Thika, and we were walking on the road, as in the side of the road, and this guy was meandering, like fooling around. And he happened to hit my sister.
Ole.
And I was with her, and she flew in the air and then fell down on the concrete. She hemorrhaged her brain.
Oh, gosh.
There and then. So I was with her. I mean, that was the most traumatic thing that I'd gone through. I had no idea the impact it had had on me until that hypnotherapy session.
Just to understand, are you saying that that is what was causing
Yes.
all your pain, all your medical issues this whole time?
And I had no idea.
Interesting.
Because that was very traumatic. I could not have in that moment understood what had happened to me.
Yeah.
I was, of course, overtaken by shock, fear, anger, confusion, and everything put together. I had no idea how to even deal with it. And the grief that came out of the death. And
she passed on.
Yeah, she passed on. She passed on 2 days later because her brain was dead. Yeah. So that left us very torn. And not only that, I'm the eldest, I have a younger sister, and this was the last born. My parents were grieving, we were grieving, and we were all torn apart. Like we never came back together to grieve. To grieve this death, this loss. And so, though we lost our sister, we lost our parents as well. Yeah. So there was a lot that went on, and I had no idea how to get a grip on that. And this confusion, fear, inner conflict just went on for many years without me realizing it. And the moment we released that, in that session, I was a different person. That is not a joke. And then as I went along understanding and learning, within, I think, about 3 to 4 weeks, I started seeing changes.
In your body?
Yeah, my migraines went.
Wow.
My migraines went to a point where even today, it's rare for me to get a headache.
Wow. But I believe it. Yeah.
And then my back started resolving
Healing.
itself.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. So then I realized, here is a part of me who stores everything, but I have no idea of it.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
There's a book called The Body Keeps Score.
Yes.
So that just came to mind. I'm like,
Absolutely.
wow, it does keep score.
So the mind had taken the trauma, but it was stored in the body as well.
Yeah.
And it started manifesting.
For sure.
And the change I saw in myself after that, of course, it's taken time and many sessions. But as I started unpeeling the emotional layers of me, I started changing, literally. Not only that, my life outside started changing. I was not the same person that I started this journey with.
Yeah.
So my belief was completely sealed that this is the path for me.
That is so interesting. Initially, before we came on, we were also talking a bit about your spiritual journey. And could you maybe show us how that also went into hypnotherapy?
Yeah. As children, we're born in a Jain family, but I was never interested in Jainism, actually, because for me it was too ritualistic. Even as a child, I used to go to the temple and we're told, don't sit this way, sit this way. And I used to question, like, why do we do what we do? And nobody gave an answer and said, it's very scientific, but you just have to do what you do. It's more ritualistic. So anyway, and even my mom was not a believer. And my mom was into Brahma Kumaris. I have grown up with them. And of course, I used to do their meditation as much as I knew, whatever I knew. Somewhere it helped.
Yeah.
But then the answers came later on.
So you were still
Searching.
searching. But at that point, was it still related to your medical issues?
Yes.
Still,
So
okay.
even meditation, because I think I really didn't get a grip on my conflict. And nothing helped me understand. Because even though I was meditating, I think I was too far away with everything. And one thing I realized is I had lost a part of me. And that part of me was probably trying to look for me.
Integrate.
And I couldn't. No meditation helped me do that. I was there in the Brahma Kumaris. I was an ardent follower. I did a lot for them. I went to Mount Abu. I did everything. And I was one way thinking that this will actually help me. To a certain extent it did, but to a certain extent it didn't.
You know, it's important that you
Yeah.
say this because there are some people who we go through meditation, we go through the spiritual practices, and sometimes nothing is happening.
Yeah.
And then we might find that you start blaming yourself, only to realize that now in a previous story you gave us, there's a disconnect between your body, your soul, your spirit. There's just a disconnect that needs to be merged back together so that the spiritual practices can be effective. I've actually just gotten that insight
I
now.
absolutely agree with you.
Yeah.
Because until the mind, body, and spirit are finding themselves in alignment, you're going to look everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So could you tell us a bit about how hypnotherapy works? I don't know if I've ever gone through it. Is it the same as past life regression?
Similar, yes. So
Okay.
there are two parts to it. Hypnotherapy is a therapy that uses hypnosis to access the subconscious mind. So what is the subconscious mind? Is that part of us that holds everything. It's literally the controlling factor of our life.
Yeah.
Its biggest mandate is to keep us alive, because if the subconscious mind dies, then we die. The nervous system is part of the subconscious mind. Our fight or flight mechanism is part of the subconscious mind. So this is our survival mechanism. So anytime we are in danger, this is where we regress to, actually. So most of the time when we are in emotional stress, we are operating from there. So it's that part of us that stores, it's a storehouse. It stores everything from the time we are in our mother's womb to the time we grow up to the age we are. Every experience, every feeling is stored as an archive. But it gets triggered. Whatever is not healed or whatever is unresolved, it will trigger. That is the control the subconscious mind has. The conscious mind is there. It helps us lead life, basically.
Yeah.
It helps us with everyday things. But the background is what is more important. So the whole purpose of hypnotherapy is to access that mind so that you can align it with your life.
Interesting.
If that part is not aligned, then you will not be in alignment with you. So if I say, like, let me give you an example of a computer. The hardware, the computer itself, the laptop or the desktop, is the hardware. And our body is like the hardware. It's a physical thing. Now, it cannot operate unless you have a software operating program.
Yeah.
And the mind is that operating program that is operating the hardware. The brain has the neurochemicals, neuroactivity, neuroplasticity going on, and is functioning with the body. So anything that we are thinking, feeling is how our body is also functioning. But that program is being fed by the mind. And then you can have a hardware, you can have a software, and if you just keep the computer there and don't do anything about it, what will happen? It will die down because the battery will go flat.
Yeah.
So what do you need to do to run that computer and the software program is the power supply. Now our soul is the power supply. Without that power, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, that's true.
So all in tandem work together. And so when you talked about past lives, yes, we in the subconscious mind, there is a part of us that recalls that the memories are there. But the past lives are over because we've left that life. We've died and we've changed our costume. But why do we go into past lives? Is because somewhere we may be living an effect. For example, I'll give you my own example. When I was studying regression therapy and hypnotherapy, we used to do a lot of past lives. And one of the things I used to say is, I don't know why I have brain fog. Like I learn, but I tend to forget, and then I have to go back. Like I can't grasp everything. I feel like I've got brain fog. And one life we went into, this was just accessing it through hypnosis, where I was a drug addict in a past life. And
Interesting.
I died of a drug overdose. So what happened is, the moment my consciousness leaves the body, I'm carrying the imprints of that life, the drugs, the overdose. So imagine that the drugs are in my system, in my consciousness, and I take birth and I come back with that because somewhere that life was not fulfilled or it was not resolved.
Wow. Okay.
So why do we go back to past lives? Only that there's an effect you live with today and you want to resolve it, then we must understand where is the root cause of it. And the root cause is in the subconscious mind.
Even in that life. So if you talk of that life being resolved, can you help us see how you would have resolved that life?
Clearly, my mind was clearer after that. That's the
what
proof.
would you have done?
Yeah.
When you say it's because you didn't resolve that life, if we were to go back to that life, what is it that you ought to have done to have resolved it, then you don't carry
so to get clarity. To get clarity, why did I see that life? What happened to me? And why did my soul choose to live that life, actually? And then remove, because the body of today is holding the imprints of the past.
Time, yeah.
So releasing it from the body and releasing the subconscious imprint. Why did I choose that life?
So why did you choose that life?
I was to experience poverty.
Wow.
I was to experience helplessness. But at the same time, if I had a choice, like say even in this life, we have moments of choice. We make decisions and those choices have consequences. So in that life, I was asked, did you have a moment of choice before you became a drug addict? Yes, I had. I was in a foster home and I ran away because I was not happy there. I could have chosen to work. I could have chosen to get a job. I could have chosen anything. But I chose because I was enticed by a group of people and feeling that helplessness, like I was anyway a loner. So I got into that entanglement, wanting to run away rather than take a grip of my life. That was my learning. That I had a choice and I took a different choice that led me to something else.
Can I ask you on that same life? But I'm thinking, if you took that other life, the one for working, you wouldn't have experienced poverty and helplessness, which is vital to your soul evolution.
Correct. So now if I bring that here, I have a choice to grow.
Whoa. Oh my God. I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So it's not lost.
It's not
Nothing
lost.
is lost. Yeah. It's not like you get punished for not punished, but for not having made a better choice.
Yes. So if I could bring that choice here, what can I do that will help me today? Because the imprints are already there. I am living the effect. So if I make a choice that I am not helpless, I can make a choice to grow in my life, for sure. And these are the things that change the subconscious. So now what happens is the subconscious was holding this. We have unlocked it and we have clarified and we have let it go. Means the mind has changed and the body changes. The cellular memory changes because of that, which means that we are not the same people.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Because
that's
no
the whole
have the
purpose
pattern.
and power of this.
It's very powerful.
Yeah.
It's very powerful. It feels magical almost.
It is magical.
Yeah. So, oh my God, do you have another past life that you'd like to share? I really love those
For
stories.
sure, I do. Honestly, let me tell you, it's a quite an interesting one. How I came into this hypnotherapy is not by flukes. I mean, healing is something that comes from another space and time, right? So I was thought that I was a witch.
Wow.
That is not a joke.
I love that.
Yeah. So many years ago, centuries ago, I was a little girl, a young girl, who was trying to work with plants. Somewhere something was happening where I was trying to extract oils from plants, and trying to awaken this. This is our third eye.
Third eye.
And I was trying to awaken that through oils, and this was a very ancient time ago. Now, in that village, we were just few people, like a few hundreds of people, not even many. I was trying to do this and I was trying to help people because that was an experiment, but I was a very young girl. I think I was just about 18-ish. I wasn't even a grown-up. My mother was very supportive in that life, like, do this and we'll help you. But as I did that, some men in the community were not very happy with what I was doing. I guess they were suspicious, and they got the villagers together now to attack me because they thought I was doing something to take away some power or something. I don't remember that. But in the Hindu culture, you don't touch here. That's why we put in the bindi here.
The bindi, yeah.
This is your third eye. You protect it. So if I am doing something to awaken it, then it's a threat. So they got together and they killed me.
How?
By stoning me to death. Yeah.
Lord.
So again, going back to that past life, I had to see what was my learning in that life. The biggest learning was that I did things haphazardly. I didn't seek advice, or I didn't do it quietly, or I was more excited, and maybe got in touch with the wrong people. So that led me to die. So then if I was to bring this learning to this life, what can I do that the healing will be more profound? Again, do it in a structured way.
Interesting. Nice.
So it makes sense. So yeah, it's been quite interesting how it has led me to learn a lot of things about myself. Yeah. I have many of those, but
I get it.
Yeah.
I like this also because what would you say to people who, well, I believe we are talking to people who already know there are past lives, but just assuming, because you mentioned that you've been in the corporate world, assuming you're speaking to someone who is right now in the corporate world, who's struggling, and who obviously because of conditioning, convention, they don't believe in, let's say, past lives and all that very woo-woo stuff. What would you say to them?
First of all, I would want to educate people about the mind. How many of us know what our mind is? We know we have a mind, but do we know anything and the power that we hold within us? So we live life unconsciously more than consciously, yet we think we live consciously. We go about our daily work, daily life, come home, we are on the mobiles, and then we go to sleep. Like literally, that is like not living life. So I would want to teach not just one person, but everybody. Do you know your mind? Start from there, because knowing your mind means knowing you. And that goes back to our patterns in life, just this life, how we were born, how we've been raised, what kind of conditioning we have, what kind of beliefs we have brought up. What is right, wrong, we don't know. Today, information is so available and we are so exposed to everything. Do we know right, wrong, good, bad, nothing? And again, going back to our socio-economic education, religious systems, how they have formed our belief systems has become our personality today. And somewhere we may question things, but we really don't know how to deviate from them or do something different or think something different or believe in something different. So I would want to educate everybody on how does your mind work? Who are you? Are you actually who you are, or are you a product of your conditioning? And then you live life. That's it. Some things are okay. We are not disputing everything, but a lot of things today, we have more information available. So how do we understand it?
What do you think is the purpose of life?
I believe, and this is my experience coming into hypnotherapy, I've come into this life to live life. I've come to experience life in this body. When we talk of spirituality, this soul, as we talked about past lives, our soul chooses to experience something. So our soul has come into this life to experience something, to understand and learn something. And that's why we've come into this body to experience. So experience.
Nice. I like that because what I'm learning also from you is that if I did hypnotherapy, I'd have a better life experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah, than just going through life from a conditioning that I got, I don't know how many lifetimes ago, or even in this lifetime, some memories that I've suppressed. So if I undo that, I remove some patterns, I'm not just led by a pattern.
Yeah.
I can maybe create new patterns from new life experiences, and that would make life worth living. Because
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Because again, not just patterns, even what is dictating our life today is our feelings. Like, say, as we're growing up as a child and we're seeing whether, say, for example, if we're brought up in a safe home and we are loved and we're brought up in a certain way, and that becomes a good space for us to grow up, be confident, and move on in life. And there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe that's the journey that we are supposed to be on. Simple. But say, like my example, how I went through trauma, and that changed everything because my feelings then controlled everything.
Yeah.
So many people do go through traumas in their childhood. Simple things like whether it's at home, even at school, people are bullied. So that changes, that they feel something. Now, those feelings, if they are not addressed and resolved, will dictate because they start settling in the mind and body. And then we create that energy and frequency around us. That will dictate who we become and how we then live life.
live life.
And that's maybe not what we are supposed to live. So healing emotions gets in touch with the lost parts of us, because in moments of any trauma, emotional or physical, whatever, we lose something in ourselves. So when we get in touch back into us, integrate us, we see life differently and we walk a different path. Maybe that's the journey we're meant to be. So it's finding out what is it that we've come here to do. There are so many people who are living a good life. That's what they're meant to do.
That's true.
Yeah. So it's not about a reason, but it's about understanding what have I come to do. And purpose, for me, sometimes purpose feels too big. I say in this moment is my purpose.
What are some of the examples of the people, the journeys you've seen of different souls that you've met, so that maybe someone might hear and resonate? What are some of the maybe traumatic experiences, some of the patients you've had? Like what are the examples that you can share with us?
There are many. I'm just trying to think. Like something simple like a middle-aged, not middle-aged, maybe a guy in about 30s, he came to see me. And what he said is that he's very clever. He's very creative, but he can't use that. He keeps doubting himself all the time. He has so much potential, but he's sabotaging it. And through hypnotherapy, we went back into one moment in his life, and that was probably the deciding factor. He was a happy-go-lucky little kid. He had a very strict mother, yes, but a loving mother. Nothing over the top. But when he was about, I think, 3 or 4 years old, now that time kids are just playful. What else are they? So the mom tells him that I'm very busy, and she took him upstairs and made him sit on a stool and said, don't stand from here, don't move from here until I come back. Now, opposite him was maybe a chest of drawers and a window behind it. And his mom had maybe a small tape recorder, like a small thing. And it was standing and the wind was blowing. Now, he's a little boy who doesn't know how to express himself. And he's watching this wind blowing, and this thing falls. It was something very dear to his mom. He can't say anything because he's been told, you stay put, sit and don't do anything. And the tape recorder falls. The mom hears it, comes and shouts at him. She was so angry at him, like she was.
Yeah.
And she blamed him, says, I know you got up. I know you've done something to it. Poor thing, he couldn't say anything. And he froze in that moment. Like this was it affected him very deeply. That his mother blamed him. She was so angry and she was not ready to listen. And he couldn't express what was happening. All he wanted to say is, I didn't do it. But he couldn't. Now that froze him in time. And this is what has controlled him all his life. I can't say or do what I want to.
Wow.
That has affected him completely. So with therapy, what we do is, this is a bit of inner child work. So he's the adult of today, but he is facing the problem of the past. So with his presence, we get the boy out of that room. I mean, this is very intuitive healing. I don't have a script for that. But so I'd asked him, I said, because I understood the boy is frozen in time. So I said, do you want to take that little child away? Where would he be safer if not in this room? And his breathing changed, first of all. This is how I gauge what's happening to a person. And the moment he took the child out, he says he's breathing a sigh of relief. He's finally free of what he was trapped into. That one session changed him, and he messaged me. He didn't message me immediately, but I think a week, 10 days later, he said, thank you so much.
Yeah. So that would make someone, for example, self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Even like for career promotions.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's a 3-year-old.
This is how...
controlling a 30-year-old.
Yeah. This is what happens. Because we don't know. Traumas can be small traumas or big traumas, but in the child's mind, it is a very big thing. And it controls your whole life.
Is it something you have to keep doing for every trauma you've gone through?
Definitely. You've got to understand what happened. Because the child's perception is very different from the reality.
So can you become... No, you can't become dependent. Is there like... I think what I'm asking is there like a minimum amount of sessions that would help unlock me, or I will come for the big ones where I feel like my life is not the way I imagine it to be, right?
Yes.
That's what I'd come for.
So, of course, overcoming trauma, you need about 4 to 6 sessions, just to understand what's happening. But healing is a journey that is ongoing.
Always,
there is never an end. So many years on. I started this journey in 2015 with hypnotherapy. This is my 11th year, and I'm still healing parts of me. As and how it comes. But the bigger ones are done, kind of a thing. Yeah.
Okay, that's clear. Yeah. Did you ever help the Westgate patients, the ones you mentioned? They're on my mind.
After that, nobody came to hypnotherapy with it. But with counseling, I tried.
Yeah. Okay, no, I meant with the hypnotherapy, whether
nobody has come to me. But I do get deep traumas like that. I mean, trauma can not just be childhood, but trauma can be so many other things. Trauma can be molestation. Trauma can be physical issues. Trauma can be accidents. Trauma can be emotional. Trauma can also be spiritual. Now, spiritual goes back to past lives.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. That's interesting.
Yeah. And things like fears and phobias, deep fears, phobias can come from other lives, and you carry them here.
Like fear of water, heights.
Yeah. So I was very claustrophobic.
What happened?
I was very claustrophobic. Again, that didn't go into a past life. My claustrophobia came from my mother's womb when I was being born.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So I went back into my mother's womb. We do womb healing also, where the child is just consciousness. What else is the child? The child doesn't have a brain to think. It doesn't have a cognitive mind. All it has is the feeling mind. And when my mom was giving me birth, she was very anxious. I'm the eldest. She has no clue. And maybe she was also very frightened. So I took on all that. And then when I was being born, I felt I was suffocating. I couldn't breathe because she couldn't breathe. So the air that she should have passed to me was not coming, and I was suffocating. I have healed that.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah.
That's mind blowing. I didn't know
I've
that was a
healed that,
thing.
yeah.
That's even a form of trauma. You know, we just take these things for
Yeah.
granted.
No, I have done many womb healings as well for people. What happens in their mother's womb and how they carry their mom's emotions into their body.
You know, what we shall do is you'll give me a list of things that you do so that people can check and see if they resonate, and then they can contact you. Because actually, what? Like being born could be a trauma is mind blowing to me.
It is.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to add, or you feel I haven't maybe touched on?
What I would say is this science is so amazing, and which is why I say that I've traversed everywhere, but the answers I got were unbelievable. Like unbelievable because I believe them. Like it is something that I have not encountered and I've not experienced. There is a lot of literature out there and they say the same thing, but to put it into context is very important. The belief that it set in me because I, at every level, started changing. And for me, that is the reality. Hypnotherapy has given me amazing knowledge and the tools to help.
Yeah.
Again, regression therapy is again another science, but in the same way where we're healing people at many different levels, not just mind and body. We're going mind, body, spirit, energy. What we think we are today is just physical, but what we see and what we are is not the only reality we live with. There's a lot beyond that we don't see, but is reality that is also there living with us.
Do you mean multidimensional stuff?
Multidimensional, we are.
You can bring that now. This is where you'll have to come back so that we talk about the energy.
Yeah.
That's very, very, very big and broad.
Yeah. So this science gave me so much that I can, no matter how much I work with, I will still be fascinated to know more. Yeah. And I would wish that people would think about it, that we're just not this beings, this physical being in this physical reality. This is just one. There is much more to us that is there to understand.
There is sounds like it gets deeper and deeper. If you don't mind, we can come back to another session where we can now break it down to like the womb healing, like category by category, because I'd like to learn a bit more about that. I had a question about God. Who is God to you? Just the last question.
In my understanding and my learning, God is a part of us. Okay? Why I say that is, I'm a fragment of God because I'm a spirit. And that spirit is connected to a power that is beyond me for sure. But I'm part of that power. So let me just say it in a simpler way. Do you believe that we have a higher self, like that part of us that doesn't incarnate?
Yes.
We are souls who have taken and who have made a choice to come and play the roles and understand life and maybe resolve karma. So we have chosen a fragment of us, but that fragment belongs to the higher self, that divine self.
Yeah.
Now we are all divine selves, right? Imagine that we all come together as one consciousness. For me, that is God.
Nice. I didn't see that coming. So, yeah.
So all of us,
I love that.
Our divine selves are a collective consciousness. That is God.
God, yeah. I love that very much.
Yeah. For me, that is God.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So thank you so much for sharing so many insights. I would have loved to go on. I have so many questions. I'd love to have a session with you for sure. I wonder what
You're most welcome.
trauma I have. I'm stuck in time over. But for now, I want us to just call this an episode. Thank you so much for your time, for gracing our show. Thank you for watching, dear viewers and listeners. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If you want to reach out to her, her contacts will be down below. In fact, I should also ask you, where should people reach you?
So I have a healing center called Soul Sanctuary. And of course, I have a YouTube, I have Instagram, and I have Facebook handles. You can reach out to me on Kinneri Parekh, and you'll find me on Facebook or Instagram. And I have some videos of my podcast on YouTube as well, and testimonials from my students who have gone through this curriculum and how it's changed their lives. Please do go and watch.
Yes.
And I will leave the contacts with you should anyone want to think about it.
Yes.
But I just say that it changed my life 360 degrees. Who I was and who I am today are two different things, but this is the true me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this you. I'm glad I met this you. So dear viewers and listeners, you've heard, we'll put her contacts in the description below. And until next time, goodbye.